Welcome everybody to Intensity Broadcasting. My name is Josh Hall. This is the SCSRA Intensity Apparel Truck Series here at Darlington Speedway, and it is the first race of the playoffs. We're getting ready for an exciting one here tonight. We got so far 10 drivers who are all playoff drivers looking to advance to the round of 8. We have two races here. The round of In the round of 12, we have Darlington tonight. Next week, we move on to the high banks and the fast speeds of Talladega Super Speedway. And then we'll cut the field down to 8. Let's take a look at the points coming into tonight. And I'm not really sure what was just playing in the background, so I apologize for that. But yeah, so we got, let's take a look at those points. Devin Butchino up at the top of the leaderboard with 1,036 points. Eddie Morris back in second. 1,006 points. Sharn Hill, 1,003. D. Wright, 1,003. Riley Gomes, 1,001. Then everybody else back with 1,000. And you see David Hartney back there with 995. And what these drivers did was everything was reset back to 1,000. Any playoff points accrued from winning stages are up there, as well as race wins. So there are some bonus points involved, and that's why you see a couple drivers up there with some higher points than some of the others. As we have about 17 seconds left here in practice before we get ourselves underway in qualifying. Of course, I want to thank everybody for joining us here tonight, whether you're watching on Facebook, on YouTube, or over on Kick. We do appreciate you tuning in here tonight. Don't forget to hit that like button, follow, and subscribe. Hit that little notification bell so you know anytime we go live here on Intensity Broadcasting. There's the checkered flag is out for practice as we're about to get qualifying underway. Before we do, though, we want to thank all of our great partners here on Intensity Broadcasting, including Race EPI for all your iRacing coaching and setup needs. Visit raceepi.com. Of course, check out our web store at intensityracing.com, where you can find Intensity Apparel, find hats, t-shirts, novelty racing gear. You can also find Atliat Manweese's racing gear, a couple other local short track drivers. And if you are a local driver looking for some swag, contact us today for a quote and see if we can hook you up with some t-shirts and hats. Get a quote today over at intensityracing.com. Of course, our great partner over at Butt Kicker as well. Butt Kicker is a well-known and established leader in gaming haptics. The award-winning line of Butt Kicker products lets users feel low-frequency sounds. Their products are used and endorsed around the world by leading PC and console gamers, including professional sim racers. Check out the full line of Butt Kicker products and figure out what's right for you. Visit thebuttkicker.com. And we got our first driver out on the racetrack turning laps. That is the 214 of Ryan Likens. Also on the racetrack right now, we have David Hartney, Eddie Morris, Sharn Hill, and Trey Spears out there as well. But even though Chuck Balance is in the playoffs, fortunately he's having some kind of issue, so he will not be racing here tonight. Also don't see Matt Allen here tonight as well, so that's two playoff drivers missing the race tonight. As Ryan Likens goes third fast, it looks like he's going to shut it down here. As Sharn Hill goes up to the top of the leaderboard. Making his way around turns 3 and 4 down the starting stretch. Across the stripe, and his second lap is going to be a little bit better at a 28.92. Here comes Trey Spears off of turn number 4, and he's going to come across the stripe. And Spears is going to run a 29.29. That's going to lock him currently into the 3rd position. Here's Eddie Morris, currently in the 5th position. On his second lap. And down across stripe, and Eddie Morris is going to improve his time up into 2nd. As you get Ryan Gomes on the racetrack. I see Kevin Graham just joined the race as well. So we'll have Looks like, and Sylvain Seguin just joined as well, so it looks like we'll have 12 cars starting here tonight. Of course, your playoff drivers will be indicated by the green banners on the scoring pylon and on the ticker. See Ryan Gilmes get up into the outside wall. Unfortunately, I do believe that's going to disallow his time. See if it does not, though, as he comes off of turn number 4 down the front stretch. Yeah, due to a little contact with the wall, his last time was disallowed. So it does leave a few drivers left out on the racetrack. See Kevin Graham currently on pit road. Devin Butchino just rolling off pit road right now. Both Eddie and Butchino going to be rocking those orange and black machines, so it'll be easy to separate them, though. Eddie's going to have bright green numbers on his truck. Devin's going to have white numbers on his truck. You also notice the drivers who are in the playoffs will have the playoff banners on the roof of their car, or roof of their truck there on the windshield. As Devin comes off of turn number 4, takes the white flag on his second lap. Currently jumps up into the 3rd position. Ooh, Butchino catches the outside wall. That's going to disallow his second lap, so currently going to be 3rd fastest as Joe Wright comes across the stripe. We'll move up into the 7th position. And Darlington, a tough track to race, and I just realized I do not have my chat up. So if you've been chatting in, I do apologize. I've not been able to see any of the chat, so give me just a moment. Get that set up. And Joe Wright currently up into the 3rd position. David Wright off of turn at number 2. Into turns 3 and 4, and Darlington, a bit of a unique track. You see the high lane is the preferred lane. All the grip is right up against the wall. So now we've got that chat up and running. So again, if you've said anything already, I do apologize. I was not able to see it. As we see Riley Gomes making his way across the stripe. And he's going to be currently in the 8th position. 2 drivers left to qualify, Kevin Graham and Sylvain Seguin. And let's see if we can get a word in with one of our playoff drivers. Hey, Hartney, you got Josh up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Josh.
Man, you're starting tonight. Looks like you got a good starting spot, starting 5th. Last driver in the playoffs. We wanted to talk to some of our playoff drivers we normally don't get a chance to talk to in here. So talk about your how you're thinking this race is going to go here and what your strategy is going to be here tonight.
Well, the field's a lot smaller than we'd like it to be. So 90% of the field's all playoff drivers. Normally we would say be courteous to each other for the playoff drivers for the non-guys, but that's pretty limited. Qualifying kind of messed up my second lap there. Didn't get high enough, fast enough in 1 and 2. Kind of messed up the exit on 2, so kind of screwed myself on that one. It's all gonna be tire savings and patience, man. Just make it to the end. This is a track that you need to race the track, not the drivers. So as long as we can do that, like to see us top 5 and get us a good foothold on some of the guys in the playoffs.
Yeah, I was talking to the Gomes brothers. And they said the truck felt pretty doggy, like just didn't have much power behind it. Were you feeling that tonight? And do you think it's going to lead to some real tight racing here tonight?
I mean, that's every race at this track. This always feels underpowered for this track. The problem is the tires go away so quick, coming out of 4, that it just feels so underpowered, but the gears are so long. So it's just the nature of the beast with this platform. But you know, we'll do the best we can with it.
Well, I know you got your work cut out for you here tonight, starting or gonna be 12th back in the points. So good luck tonight. Hopefully you have a good finish, and then you got the Talladega next week. I know you like them super speedways, so good luck tonight, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Appreciate you, brothers. Good luck tonight.
Have a good night. So that was David Hartney, who's going to be rolling off from the 5th spot. Said kind of far back in the points right now, hoping to have a good night and get himself up into a position to advance on to the next round. Cheeseburger in the chat says, "Well, I could not get the school computers out of admin mode, but he did have the controller ready." And Cheesy, that would have been great to see out there with the controller here at Darlington. I'm sure that would go off well. I know how easy this track is to drive, so. I don't know if Adam is watching out there. I know he's a new member of the SCSRA. As we get ready to take a look at our starting lineup. And starting on pole here tonight, the 05 of Sharn Hill, Eddie Morris, will be rolling off from the 2nd position. P3 will be Joseph Wright with Devin Butchno rolling off from the 4th spot. Then row number 3 will be David Hartney in the 43 and Ryan Gomes back in the 55. Trey Spears rolls off from the 7th spot with Riley Gomes his outside in 8th. Ryan Likens and David Wright make up row number 5. Then Kevin Graham and Sylvain Seguin round out the field here tonight at Darlington. So a small field, 115 laps. Adam found the race here tonight. So glad to have you there, Adam. Good to see you from down under. And enjoy the show as we get ready for 115 laps here. Stage on lap 35. And just waiting for the rest of the field to grid up before we get our pace lap underway. And we get going here tonight from Darlington. And David Hartney kind of hit the nail on the head there, saying tires are going to be the most important part. Speaking of David Hartney, very special paint job for him tonight. I want to shout that one out right there. Donate for Life America. His wife did a very brave act, donating a kidney so another person could live. And it's an amazing, brave act, a selfless act. And I definitely want to shout that out there and shout out his wife for giving life to another person. It's just awesome. And because of that, he's got that special Donor Save Lives truck here tonight. So awesome paint job on that truck. A really, really special truck for a lot of people. So as the field gets underway, one thing you'll notice, these drivers are going to try to get single file as quickly as possible. Track looks like it's very wide, but you see where the seam is underneath Sharn Hill. That is basically where the racing line is. That's as low as you can really go on this track. That first set of dash lines that they're coming to, that is the banking. Everything below that is apron. So not a lot of room for these drivers. That's why they find the high side to be the most successful side. We'll be watching for that here tonight as Sharn Hill leads the field off of turn number 4. Green flag is in the air. We are racing here from Darlington as they make their way down into turn 1 for the first time. You see Devin Butchno diving down to the inside, trying to get a little more single file. As Eddie Morris using that high lane, trying to get around Sharn, catches the wall just a little bit as they're side by side off of turn number 2 and into turn number 3. Morris at high lane, Sharn Hill trying to dip his tires down below the apron, get that truck to rotate as they come off of turn number 4 side by side. But Eddie Morris is going to lead lap number 1 as they come down into turn number 1. Very unique line, right down into the against the apron, into the corner, let the truck slide up to the wall. And it's kind of like a double apex. You'll see these guys actually get out of the throttle and then back into it in the middle of the corner and drive the truck off of turn number 2. Right along here with Trey Spears, and you'll hear that down in the corner. Slides the truck up the track, back on the throttle, off the throttle, and then right back to the throttle. Get that truck to rotate up off the corner. Truck gets really, really light off of the corner. So watch for the biggest issues tonight will be off of turn number 2. Here's Ryan Gomes in the Cat 5.5 back in the 9th position. Trying to run down David Wright. Joseph Wright just ran the fastest lap of the race with a 29.12. He's got a little bit of drafting help there off of Sharn Hill. And the draft will come into play here tonight. This track is very, very large. This is the original super speedway, so these long straightaways allow for high speeds down the straights. That's where you really want to try to set your passes up down into turns 3 and 4. You really can't pass through turns 1 and 2. You can, but it's much more difficult than it is down in turns 3 and 4. So watch for the majority of passes to be made down in turns 3 and 4 as Sharn Hill trying to run down Eddie Morris to take back over that top spot. Michael Lawrence says having a brother in end-stage kidney failure. Very grateful for families like Hartney's. Yeah, it's awesome. They did that as Hartney goes, Eddie gets loose and loses 3 positions there. I had my head turned to reading the chat here. Let's take a look to see exactly what happened to Eddie here. Ooh, Eddie just almost caught the wall, had to check up hard. That allowed Sharn Hill to keep a foot down through turns 1 and 2, and Joe Wright was able to follow right on through as well. So move Eddie back into the 4th position. Well, your fastest truck on the racetrack right now is that 82 of Joseph Wright. Him and Bacino have been trading fastest laps back and forth for the last couple laps. But Sharn Hill out in clean air. That's exactly what he wants to see. So as they go single file back off of turn number 4, Sharnhill continues to lead. And this track is a very unique shaped track. We all know Darlington is egg-shaped, as you can see right there. And all the reason being is when the track was designed, the land was purchased, the landowner asked that they didn't mess up his minnow pond, his fishing pond off of what is now turn number 3. So the track was built egg-shaped to allow that minnow pond to stay. That's why Darlington has the shape that you see today. Of course, Darlington was reconfigured back in, I believe it was 2001, where they flipped the front stretch to the back stretch and the back stretch to the front stretch. It was 1997, that's what it was. They put the start-finish line on what was then the backstretch. That's why when these drivers come down the backstretch, you'll actually see an old pit road down to the inside here. And that is the old pit road that they used to use here at Darlington. And turns 1 and 2 used to be 3 and 4, and vice versa. That's why that minnow pond used to be in turn number 1. Now we find it back in turn number 3, and that minnow pond is still there. If you watch from the blimp here as they come down into turn number 3, you should see that minnow pond right off to the right here. Zoom out here from the iRacing blimp. Great shots here from high above the Darlington Raceway. There's that minnow pond right there to the right. That's why Darlington has such a unique shape. Well, battle for second place is starting to heat up as Devin Butchino starting to run down Joseph Wright. Eddie Morris right there on the back bumper as well. Another battle starting to heat up a little further back as Trey Spears and Ryan Gomes starting to battle back for 8th and 9th. Right now the battle second through 5th starting to heat up. You see Adam says in the chat, donates blood and plasma, been an organ donor. It's an awesome act. Absolutely. I know I'm an organ donor. I don't do needles well, so my wife does donate the plasma because she has a very rare blood type. So it's really awesome to see people who do such selfless things so that others can live a healthy life. You see Butchno right on the back bumper of Joseph Wright. And Butch with a bit of a run here. Almost had a good run down the backstretch and into turn number 3. And hear how long it's taken Joe Wright to get back to the throttle. Those tires are starting to wear out. This track is super abrasive, really, really wears the tires quickly. And you can see that as we are on approaching lap number 20, and lap times have already fallen off well over a second. Joseph Wright, who has the fastest lap of the race, Last time by, or his fastest lap is a 29:12 as he comes across the stripe this time. He just ran a 30:50. So that really shows just in 20 laps how much these tires give up. As that battle for second place is continuing as Devin Butchino takes over second place. Now Eddie Morris trying to advance his position, but just not quite close enough to make that happen. So move Butchino up in the second. But Sharnhill out in clean air has almost a second advantage over everybody else as we are about 15 laps from the end of the stage. The second group back here racing hard, led by Dave Wright sitting back in sixth. D Wright up 4 spots from when he started. That's the biggest mover of the race. He's got Trey Spears, Riley Gomes, and Ryan Gomes right behind him. As Trey's going to dip down to the bottom and let, Riley go on by. And then Riley pounds the outside wall off of turn number 2. Riley getting himself a Darlington stripe. There goes Ryan getting a Darlington stripe as well, and that's going to allow Trey to get right down underneath. And for those who aren't too familiar with Darlington, because of how close they run up against the wall, the Darlington stripe is a kind of a what's the word I'm looking for here? Badge of honor, if you will. Very easy to get up into that outside wall and scrape the paint off the right rear quarter panel. I see Riley back up into the outside wall again, so looks like Riley might have a little bit more damage than I thought he originally did, as he is now off the pace. Just losing 2 spots to both Ryan and Trey Spears. David Hartney making the move down around Joseph Wright, and here comes David Wright. Trying to make another spot up here to move himself up 5 spots, trying to take over 5th place from his brother Joe. Battle starting to heat up as Joe Wright just has nowhere to go. Here comes Dave. D Wright taking a look down to the inside. He's going to slide job up in front of Joe. And now he's going to take a move down underneath David Hartney. Trying to get 2 for 1 this lap. D Wright will indeed move himself up into the 4th position. As we're about 5 laps away from stage end. Trey Spears trying to run down Ryan Gomes for the 7th position. Meanwhile, Sharnhill is out in front of Devin Butchino by almost a second and a half. And issues for Ryan Gomes, loops it down. No caution, we stay green, but let's see what happened to Gomes here. Looks like he might have taken a long slide here. Catches the outside wall. Then Trey Spears gets into him, but they were down well below the racing surface. That's why the caution did not come out. Gomes was able to get it fired up. He's going to fall back into the 11th position as he's got Sylvain Seguin right there on the back bumper. It looks like maybe not damage to the 55, but definitely some hot tires here as Joe Wright now made his way around David Hartney to move Hartney back into the 6th position. At this point, the field really starting to spread out. So we take a look again from the iRacing blimp. See most of the field stretched out pretty far. Sharn Hill starting to run down the tail end of the field, though. Let's get down into turns 3 and 4. And quickly catching Sylvain. We have just 5 laps to go in the stage. Trey Spears trying to run back down David Hartney now. As Trey Hill now running down at Joseph Wright. David Hartney made his way around Joe Wright. It sounds like these drivers might be starting to shift a little bit. Or maybe not. It just sounded like they were shifting, maybe saving a little fuel. Not sure. From outside the truck, it sounds like they are shifting, but we are just about a lap away from the end of the stage. As Sharn Hill going to put Sylvain Seguin down a lap just before the end of the stage. Here's the best battle on track right now. Joseph Wright, Trey Spears. Battle for 6th and 7th. Side by side off of turn number 2. Oh! Trey Spears gets turned around. Caution comes out. That is for the stage. Not for these two wrecking as Joe pushes the 3 all the way down the backstretch as the caution comes out. Caution was 100% for the stage. And your stage winner will be the 05 of Sharn Hill. Field gets caught up quickly, and we immediately go into pit stops. I know the entire field will be coming down as after just 35 laps, the tire fall off was about 2 seconds. Sharn Hill's fastest lap was a 29.17. His last lap was a 31.26. So yeah, quite a bit of fall off for these drivers here tonight as the field makes their way down pit road. Sylvain going to get the lucky dog here. Looks like Trey Spears stayed out. I think Trey just stayed out because of the incident to get caught back up to the pace truck, and he'll come in next time by. Let's watch the race off of pit road. Sharn Hill's going to get off first. Devin Butchino second. David Hartney comes off third. Riley Gomes fourth. David Wright fifth. Not sure what happened to Eddie Morris, but he is still on pit road. Eddie going to fall all the way back to 7th. Looks like a couple of drivers getting some damage fixed up. So I think Eddie might have had a little bit of damage. That's why he stayed a little bit longer on pit road. While we have a moment, let's have a word with our stage winner. No, we are not going to have a word with our stage winner. Sharn is not in the Discord here tonight, so see if we can get a word with another driver here tonight. D-Right, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
Josh, yeah, I got you. What's up, man?
Man, our stage winner wasn't in the booth, so I figured I'd pull somebody else that I don't talk to too often. But, man, look at you tonight having a great run. Most positions gained in that first stage. Talk about your strategy there, because it looks like you were really patient there at the beginning and it was able to let you drive up through the field.
Yeah, I got a couple right off the restart, and then a couple guys just got into a wall, got a little bit of damage, was able to get around them. Interestingly enough, had the best tire wear out of the whole team there, so must be onto something. We'll see what happens here.
Well, I know you're a playoff driver looking for a good run here tonight before we move to a track I know you're going to like next week at Talladega, but what's the strategy going to be here the rest of the race? Just kind of keeping it clean, keeping it off the wall?
Yeah, exactly. Don't need to race a lot of these guys. Just wait for mistakes and drive the track.
Well, good luck, D. Hopefully we'll talk to you at the end of the race, and have a great night.
Thanks, Josh. Have fun, bud.
So that was Dave Wright, currently starting in the 5th spot. You have Eddie Morris, his outside. So Sharn Hill going to choose the outside lane on this restart, putting Devin Butchino down on the inside. Row 2 will be David Hartney and Riley Gomes. Then D. Wright and Eddie Morris back in row number 3. Kevin Graham and Ryan Likens back in row 4. And then single file on back, Joe Wright, Trey Spears, Ryan Gomes, and Sylvain Seguin still being scored 1 lap down. So looks like he might have stayed on pit road to get some damage fixed. But here we go. Pace truck takes a hard left-hand turn. Sharn Hill's going to lead him down to the Geico restart zone. Green flag is in the air. We are back racing, and this time a little bit better jump for Sharn. David Hartney going to slide up in front of Riley Gomes to take over that 3rd position. Now Devin Butchino, fresh tires, trying to make him work. Going to dive down to the inside, trying to take over the lead. Meanwhile, we just had 3 wide racing in the back. They were able to get it all straightened out back there, as Devin Butchino still trying to take advantage of these fresh tires. Down to the inside of Sharn Hill. They are side by side through turns 1 and 2, and Sharn going to use a high lane advantage to get the power down and get himself clear of Devin Butchino and retake the lead here in Darlington. Here comes David Wright right there in the 3rd position. I'm sorry, David Hartney in the 3rd position, trying to run down Devin Butchino. Trying to move himself up into the 2nd position. And right now everybody just kind of getting single file. Trying to keep themselves out of trouble. It's a long race. Still have a long stage here. We have 73 laps to go. So plenty of time to get yourself in trouble. at the same time, we saw how abrasive this track was and how big the fall off was. I imagine these drivers are kind of trying to pace themselves a little bit better here in this second stint. Ooh, Dave Wright almost getting up into the outside wall. We talked to him just a moment ago. That is not what he was planning on doing, but he was able to save the truck. And he stays in the 5th position. Wow, a little battle starting to heat up back here between Kevin Graham and Trey Spears. Here's Joseph Wright and Ryan Likens. Likens gets up into the outside wall. Allows Joe to get on by. He's going to pull down to the inside. Let Ryan Gomes down as well. And I think Likens might have done quite a bit of damage to the right side of his truck. As it looked like he was off pace for a moment. Now it looks like he's getting back up to speed. We'll see how this truck dives down into turn number 1. Now these trucks are pretty resilient, bouncing off the wall like that. Looks like he's going to be able to continue on. Meanwhile, up front, Devin Butchno still has a mirror full of the 43 of David Hartney. With Darlington being such a tough track, I imagine that's one of the reasons why a lot of drivers didn't show up here tonight. Definitely not one of my favorite tracks to run. But next week, moving on to Talladega Super Speedway, I imagine everybody's going to crawl out of the woodwork for that one. I wouldn't be surprised to see drivers like the Merle brothers come out for Talladega. Maybe a couple other drivers we haven't seen in a while. Trey Spears slowly reeling in the 55 of Ryan Gomes. It'll be a battle for the 8th position. Way to call us out, Brian Merle Jr. in the chat. Hey, I just call it how I see it, Brian. And I know you guys like the super speedways. As you said, people will come out of the woodwork. I said to myself, yeah, I'll probably be there. See, I know how you guys work. I know how this league runs. How the part-timers like to come out for the big tracks. But seriously, the more trucks there are on the racetrack for a place like Talladega or Daytona, definitely makes for better racing. Definitely ramps up the excitement. It also throws a little bit of a wrench into it as well, as we had a couple weeks ago at Rockingham. Brett Merle won the race there, and Tim Lakin says, "See you there." Junior says misses life, full-time trucks, but life gets in the way, man. Totally understand. As Trey Spears has made his way around Ryan Gomes while we were talking about drivers coming out of the woodwork. And unfortunately, sometimes life does get in the way. Ryan Gomes is in a bit of trouble right now, starting to slide backwards. Ooh, looks like Sylvain down on the apron. Really slow. Man, that truck is definitely seen some heavy damage. Can't really see when the issue happened with Sylvain, but heavy damage to the 55, or sorry, the 66. He makes his way down on the pit road. And Joseph Wright trying to run down his brother for the 6th position. Meanwhile, speaking of running down, Devin Butchino not going away. He is about just over a half a second back behind Sharn Hill. He's starting to make his way up to that 05 machine. We're starting to see already these tires are starting to burn back off as these drivers are slip sliding around. And for those who know me, I'm a bit of a weather nerd, and just want to wish everybody who's been affected by the severe weather outbreak the last couple of days. Hope everybody's okay. Everybody's checking on their families, making sure everybody's all right. You know, Carson Hosevar just posted a few minutes ago that his hometown was hit pretty hard by a tornado in Michigan. So to all those all throughout the Midwest, our thoughts are with you as you rebuild, and hopefully everybody is safe and sound through the this horrible severe weather outbreak we've had over the last couple of days in the Midwest. But we just saw some battling back here between Kevin Graham and Ryan Likens, as Likens has moved himself up into the 10th position around Kevin Graham. And David Hartney has Riley Gomes running him down. So Gomes right there coming out strong this part of the run. Could be partially Hartney might be trying to save a little bit of tires here, or he might have burned them off just a bit. As Riley trying to find his way around David Hartney. Riley's got good speed off the corner, starting to run down Hartney, but just cannot find a place to make the move as Dave Wright is now past Eddie Morris up into the 5th position. And Gomes going to take a move to the outside. Hartney going to pull down to the bottom and let that 9 truck move up. So move Riley Gomes up onto the podium, up into the 3rd position. Don't look now, but Devin Butchino running down Sharn Hill. You see the lap times here. They've been trading lap times back and forth. This time as Hill comes across the stripe. Runs a 38.87. Butchino a little bit quicker. Not by much, but just enough. Start to eat into the lead of that 05. Meanwhile, Trey Spears just made his way around Joe Wright, and Joe Wright, who showed so much speed earlier, now starting to fall backwards. I don't know if he's got some damage to the right side of that truck. Let's see if we can take a look here as he comes on by. Oh yeah, there's some heavy damage to the right side of the 82. I'm sure that's what's slowing Joe down as he makes his way around the racetrack. David Hartney now falling backwards, and he's falling into the clutches of the 84 of David Wright. So now move Dave Wright up into the 4th position as he tries to run down Riley Gomes, put himself on the podium here tonight. So fall off this run a little bit more severe, it looks like, than the previous run. We're about 30 laps into the run, and again, we're seeing almost 2 seconds of fall off on these tires. As Eddie Morris was just up in the wall a second ago, and struggling to keep that truck going in the right direction. And again, a lot of damage is happening to these drivers. Ooh, Kevin Graham, you say running down Ryan Likens, and then Graham gets up into the outside wall pretty heavily. So I don't think there's a truck out there that has not made contact with that outside wall, as we see Graham right back up against that outside wall, slowing down. That's going to kill his momentum forward. And Sharn Hill now starting to turn the afterburners back on, and he's pulling back away from Devin Butchno. So it's almost like he's kind of playing games with that 68. And Devin back in and then pulling back away. So Devin Butchnow still trying to run down Sharn Hill, but Sharn Hill using that clean air to his advantage. Looks like Sharn Hill trying to save a little bit of fuel here as he's Riley Gomes hitting pit road, so pit stops happening pretty soon here as we have about 40 laps to go when they cross the line the next time by. Devin Butchnow also making his way down on the pit road. So green flag pit stop starting to happen here. Sharn Hill down on the apron. He's going to make his way down on the pit road as well. Very unique pit road to get onto. Very difficult pit road to get onto. As David Wright takes over the lead. And Ryan Gomes makes his way down on the pit road. More drivers down on pit road. David Hartney on pit road. Trey Spears also making his way down pit road. And David Wright's going to stay out on the racetrack. Looks like he's going to try to stretch this one as far as he can. More drivers down on pit road. Kevin Graham and Eddie Morris both hitting pit road as well. And Dave Wright continues to circulate the racetrack. He's last on pit road on lap 36 like most of the other drivers. But continuing to stay out there. Now he's going to make his way down on the pit road. And that's going to give the lead of the race to the 214 of Ryan Lakins, unless Lakins comes down pit road this time. So Ryan Lakins coming down pit road. That's going to give the lead of the race to Devin Butchnow. Meanwhile, Sharn Hill just ran the fastest lap of the race with a 29.08. So Sharn Hill, who is about a second and a half behind Devin Butchnow, went from the hunted to the hunter. So here's going to be the big push to the end here, as most of these drivers who had some damage just used up their resets to get back up to speed. And Devin Butchino using advantage as we got one driver who's crashed on the backstretch. That's Trey Spears. He was able to keep it going, so he stayed green. Let's take a look to see what happened to the 3. Ooh, got a little loose there. Catches the outside wall. Hard into the inside wall. So tough night for Trey Spears continues. Unfortunately for Trey, he's going to have to win at Talladega next week in order to advance to the next round. Unless he can get back out there and something catastrophic happens to some of the other drivers here in the playoffs. Well, another driver not having a very good race right now is Joseph Wright. He showed a lot of speed in the first part of the race. Now he finds himself a couple laps down. He's 2 laps down, back in the 9th position. Yeah, it looks like he might have sped on pit road. And that's what caused him to lose time on the racetrack. Don't look now, Sharn Hill is coming. Look at those green lap times. Solidly running down Devin Butchino. Quicker than Devin that lap as well, and he's already cut that lead down to a half a second. Sharn's figured something out in these trucks as he is continuing to run down Devin Butchino as we have just under 30 laps to go. Sharn using a little bit higher lane, able to keep a little bit more speed and momentum through turns 3 and 4. Let's see if he does anything different here down into turn number 1 than Devin does. You can compare the lines here. Yeah, Sharn's up to the wall a little bit quicker than Devin is. Devin's dipping back down a little bit earlier. That's allowing Sharn to keep that speed up off the corner. That's why he's running down that 68 machine. As they are quickly coming up on the lap truck of Kevin Graham. Graham's going to stay down low and out of the way. Fortunately, not enough to keep Sharn Hill at bay behind Butchino. And it's one thing to catch a driver here at Darlington. It's another thing to run him down as we have 25 laps to go. Plenty of time for Sharn Hill to get around Devin Butchino. But what's it going to take? Last week, we saw Eddie Morris give Trey Spears the bump and run in the Cup race. Are we going to see another bump and run here at Talladega? You know, Devin Butchino is going to be racing in his mirror, looking up in that mirror for the next few laps. Sharn Hill just trying to hang back there, put the pressure on the 68 and force him into an error. Those lap times starting to, oops. Let's go back this way. Those lap times starting to be traded off between Trey and Sharn. Now, Devino, yeah, there we go. There's a new name for him. Butchino starting to pull away, starting to run a little bit quicker laps there than Hill. Add that one to the list there. And I'll go right along there with guys Balenciaga. Devin Butchino starting to pull away from Sharn now. That interval, which was about 0.3 of a second, has now grown back up to about half a second. As Sharn's starting to turn the afterburners back on, he's starting to bring or reel that 68 back in. As we take a look at the live delta right there. See where Devin started to pull back away, and now Sharn starting to reel him back in. It's going back and forth between these two drivers. See, Sharn Hill's cut that interval down to 1/4 of a second. As we come off of turn number 4, coming to 18 laps to go. Of course, I mentioned it a couple times. Next week, we move on to Talladega Superspeedway. And for many drivers, it's going to be a must-win situation. Beautiful thing about Talladega is it's kind of a wild card race. Anybody can win that race, including somebody who's not even in the playoffs. So a lot can go into next week. So don't forget to tune in next week for that. If you haven't already, don't forget to hit that like button, follow, and subscribe, and hit that little notification bell so you know anytime we go live here on Intensity Broadcasting. And right now, looks like we're going to have quite the battle shaping up as Sharn Hill is starting to fall back off of Devin Butchino yet again. We've seen this come into play a couple times where Hill falls back a little bit, then he drives back up to Devin, falls back, drives back up. Almost like he's trying to play with that 68 a little bit, give him a little bit of false hope. As next time by, we'll have just 15 laps to go. So 15 laps to go, and Sharn Hill starting to fall back off of Devin Butchino. As we take a look here, it doesn't look like he's been up in the wall or anything, so I think he might be just kind of driving, falling back a little bit, trying to save a little bit here to make a push with 10 laps to go. Right now, the rest of the field is all spread out. The only other battle, or the other closest battle, if you will, on track would be between David Wright and Ryan Gomes. They are currently separated by 1.5 seconds. Everybody else is 3 to 5 seconds spread apart. So the entire field spread out. What would make this really interesting is if the caution was to fly. However, as spread out as these drivers are, I don't see a caution coming out, as we have 13 coming to 12 laps to go when we cross the line next time by. Now that interval between Sharn and Devin is almost a second. It's 3/4 of a second and growing. As Devin is starting to pull away gap that 05 of Sharn Hill. When Devin comes across the stripe this time, we'll have just 10 laps to go. Devin comes down the backstretch into turn at number 3. So riding along with Devin, you hear just how long it's taken him to get back to the throttle. You see just how hard Sharn is pushing back there, as he was a little sideways there off of turn at number 2. Sylvain making his way back down pit road. Currently being scored in the 11th position. Looks like Trey Spears is still stuck down on pit road. Looks like the 3's truck will be done, or 3's night will be done. Just 8 laps to go. Don't forget to join us tomorrow night, not here on Intensity, but over on the SCSRA broadcasting channel, as they will have live coverage of the Next Gen Series and their first race of the round of 12 here from Darlington. And I remember the Next Gen race last season. Right front did not stay on that car very well, so hopefully we're able to save a little bit more tire tomorrow night. Ooh, both drivers a little loose there off of turn number 2. Both drivers pushing really hard. Sharn has closed the gap down to a half a second again. Coming to 6 laps to go. Ooh, see Sharn again sideways off of turn number 2. Really trying to hustle that truck around the track to catch up to Devin Butchino. So we ride along here with Sharn. Drive right down. Let that truck wash up. Back to the throttle. Back off the throttle, back to the throttle, sideways off of turn number 2 yet again. Sharn doing everything he can, trying to run down Devin Butchino in these closing final 5 laps. Just 3 laps to go. Does Sharn Hill have anything for Devin Butchino as they make their way through turns 1 and 2? Down across, down the backstretch, down into turns 3 and 4. Across the stripe, just 2 laps to go. Sharn have anything in the tank? Can he make one last push here as they come off of turn at number 2? Closes the gap a little bit. It's a quarter second. 0.2 down into turn at number 3. Sharn giving it everything he's got. Pushes up the track here through turns 3 and 4. Gets back to the throttle as we have 1 lap to go. White flag is in the air. Can Sharn get to the 68 as they come down through turns 1 and 2 for the final time? And Sharn is closing the gap off of turn number 2. Sharn into the outside wall. That's going to do it for Sharn as he comes down into turn at number 3. Devin Butchno just needs a perfect turns 3 and 4. Off of turn 4 he comes to the checker flag. And Devin Butchno is going to win here at Darlington. Sharn Hill going to bring it home second. Riley Gomes brings it home in third. Eddie Morris back in fourth. And David Wright having a great run up into the 5th position. But how about Devin Butchno getting on and off the pit road good enough to get him into the lead? Never looked back. As the field gets lined, or our top 3 get lined up at the start-finish line here for the ceremonial top three picture. And I'll allow Devin Butchno to celebrate here. As he celebrates, I believe this is win number 7 on the season. See the stickers on the B pillar there on that truck. He does his traditional Polish victory lap, and while he makes his way around the racetrack, let's take a look at the results. And Devin Butchno again gets the win. Sharn Hill in second. Riley Gomes third. Eddie Morris, David Wright, your top 5. David Hartney finishes 6th. Ryan Gomes back in 7th. Ryan Likens back in 8th. Joseph Wright and Kevin Graham round out your top 10. Rounding out the field, Sylvain Seguin and Trey Spears. And you see Devin Butchno burning out right there in turn number 2. Right up against the Denon Tools logo, and try to refire that truck and get it back around, and we'll get ready to talk to our top 3. It looks like Devin may have burned the motor off on that 68 as he's coasting back down towards pit road. And we get a word in with our 3rd place finisher. As soon as we can pull him up here on the there we go. Let's pull in our 3rd place finisher, Riley Gomes. Riley, you got Josh up in the booth. You got a copy?
What's up, Josh?
Man, what a run for you here tonight, getting yourself up onto the podium here on this tough Darlington track. I know talking before the race, you weren't really sure what the track was going to do for you guys, but now you find yourself up on the podium. What were you able to learn here tonight to get yourself up to the top there?
Learn Kyle Petty was right. They need to fill this thing with water and just bass fish here because this place sucks.
I agree with you, but
Yeah, early on, I don't know if you saw that first stage. I was all over the place. I was up into the wall. Hit the wall a couple times. I got wheel damage that first stage. Came in, took tires, got that fast repair done. I noticed I had 80% left, and we were catching. I think it was like Hartney there towards the end of the stage, even when I had wheel damage. Um, had 80% on that right front. So I was like, okay, if I could keep this smooth and not wear out this tire, I should be able to catch them a little bit. And then was catching Dev there, I think, before the last green flag stop, and I figured I would short stop it, and unfortunately, Sharn decided to stop on the same lap, and at that point, I have no idea how to get on this pit road. I have no idea if you're supposed to come down the backstretch, if you're supposed to pull off a 3, so I probably did it the slowest possible way, and once those guys were out front, there was no catching them.
yeah, I mentioned in the broadcast it is a tough pit road to get on and off of. Definitely want to dive off of turn number 4 down the pit road and get stopped the best you can. But it's a tricky one for sure. But man, you're able to get yourself a good run here and up on the podium, and it gives you a little bit of confidence moving into Talladega next week. I know Talladega can be a bit of a crapshoot, but how do you like your chances at Talladega next week?
We'll see. With Team Neon having 5 boys up there, that's gonna be a little bit tough to compete with. I think the next team, I think it's like me and Ryan. I think one other team has 2 cars, so that green flag pit stop's gonna be kind of wild if they come off with 5 and we come off with you know twosies and onesies. It might be a little tricky, but I don't know. I'd feel a little bit more confident if I didn't blow my 0x bonus there, just being kind of an idiot. So it'll be interesting to see how tight points are coming out of here.
Well, it sounds like you and Ryan got to do a little campaigning here to get yourself some friends for next week. But man, congratulations again on the podium. A great run for you here tonight. And of course, Riley, before we let you go, anyone want to thank any shots you got to give here tonight?
As always, Josh, you up in the booth, you always do an awesome job. I know my parents watch at home. They like watching me and Ryan race, and you do a great job. So I appreciate you. Appreciate everybody over at SCSRA. Good league. I wish we could get some more trucks out here on Tuesday night, but I'm sure it will happen with time. Maybe some of the Cup guys will come over here. So appreciate everybody out there, and we'll move on to Talladega.
Awesome, man. Well, again, congratulations on the podium. Good luck next week at Talladega. Good luck tomorrow night in the Cup Series here. Hopefully, you learned something that translates over. And we'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah, one last question, Josh.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
With the Cup cars, you want to come off of 4 as best you can, not down the backstretch?
Yes, yes. We'll,
Okay.
we'll talk later.
I appreciate it, Josh.
Have a good night. So that was your third place finisher, Riley Gomes. Let's bring in your second place finisher, Sharon Hill. Sharon, you got Josh over to booth. You got a copy?
Not do that way.
What's
But-
that?
That was a lot of fun though, regardless.
Yeah, this is Josh over the booth, man. Great run for you here tonight. No, led a lot of laps. Was up front for most of the race in the clean air. Unfortunately, Devin beat you off pit road on that final stop, and you're just never able to catch him. It seemed like you had the speed to catch him, and then you'd fall off, and then you'd catch him again. Was it just tires just weren't favorable for you here tonight?
I lacked discipline on how I was driving 1 and 2 mainly. Early in the race, I was doing a good job of kind of running the wall and then driving off really well. But I got too caught up in trying to beat him through the corner, so I was getting on the gas a little bit too quick and narrowing my exit off of 2, which put me like my nose at the angle of the wall. This happened on the last lap. So I mean, you live, you learn. But finishing second to probably the best guy in the league, you can't be too mad about that. But I really wanted that.
I can imagine, especially with the playoffs, trying to get yourself locked into the round of 8 there. We did see you pushing real hard there at the end, and man, you had a great run at it coming to the end. It seemed like the clean air just was a huge difference maker out there here tonight as well. Did it seem like the truck handled a little bit worse when you were behind him as opposed to being out in front?
Yeah, I mean, air is always going to be a factor when you're that close. I think we spent a lot of time in that last run where I was about 3 to 5 tenths of a second behind him, and I did feel a little bit tighter. There are things I could have done. The cool thing about Darlington is you can run 2 to 3 different ways, especially in 3 and 4. So if there's really ever a problem, you can either move up or move down depending on what the guy in front of you was doing. Like I said, I was getting on the gas a little bit earlier than I should have. Been a little bit more patient and let the nose settle instead of trying to get on the gas as hard as I can, as quick as I can. I guess you can call it a rookie mistake, but yeah, I mean, to answer your question, a little bit, but not as much. It didn't cost me the race. I cost myself the race.
Well, tomorrow night we move into the next gens. How much of this truck racing here tonight translates over to the Cup cars, or does any kind of seat time here at Darlington really help you out?
Darlington, getting the track time, especially for me, this is another track. I was talking to Devin about it after the race. This is another track this season that I had never raced at before on the service. So for me personally, getting the seat time and making the laps to get the experience is important. When I tested earlier this week or last week, the next gen car handled a little bit differently. I was able to ride the right rear tire a little bit more tonight with the truck than I anticipate I'll be able to do with the next gen car tomorrow. But yeah, just the line, and you have to be consistent here. You have to hit your marks every lap or you're going to be in the wall. So really practicing that tonight should carry over for tomorrow.
Well, again, awesome job coming home P2 here tonight. A good points night for you here tonight. And before we let you go, anyone want to thank any shout you got to give here tonight?
Like usual, everybody that supports me and my racing aspirations on here and helping me with getting ready for real world stuff. I can't thank them enough. Everybody knows who they are. They're going to watch tonight, tomorrow, whenever. Love y'all a lot. And I hope that I can make y'all proud.
Awesome, man. Well, good luck in the real endeavors. Good luck tomorrow night at in the next gen truck, next gen car, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Yes, sir. Hope to talk to you next week.
Have a great night.
You too.
So your second place finisher, Sharon Hill. Let's bring in your winner here tonight, the driver of the 68 Morris Customs machine tonight, Devin Butchno. Devin, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you, brother.
Man, what a run here tonight for you. It looked like Sharon was the class of the field the first part of the race. You were able to beat him off pit road and never looked back. Talk us through that final run, because it seemed like you'd catch him, he'd catch you, you'd pull away, he'd catch you, you pull away. It was just kind of cat and mouse all stage long.
Yeah, I don't think not looking back is the right term there, because I think I did too much of that. Yeah, no, shout out to Sharon. He was class of the field. We got up to second there in the first stage and didn't really fall off. He actually pulled away the last 10 laps. So we went green, and in my head, I knew we did a fuel run. It was like 41 laps. So I'm going to pit on 75, and we did that. I was hoping we could just beat him by a lap. I saw Riley pit the lap before us, so I was worried that Sharon would see that and come down the same lap, but the one lap made the difference. I was saving as much as I could before he got up to me, and it kind of evened out around 6/10 for a while. But we hit 10 to go, and again, the truck just stopped turning in the middle of 1 and 2, and I don't know how he was making that top work in 3 and 4. I tried it with 2 to go, and I think I gave up 3/10. So he was the fastest truck on track. I don't know if I made him arrow push out of 2 on the white. I kind of feel bad taking this one because he was a class of the field, but that was our Hail Mary to pit and try and take that advantage and hold him off, and he definitely made me work for it. I was in the mirror way too much. I was missing my apex points in 1 and 2, and he's shown that he has what it takes to get it done at Homestead earlier this year. It's going to be tough to beat going forward, man. He showed a lot of speed every week.
Especially for someone who I know Isaiah Gill used to say it all the time, but for someone who actually really just bought the track not that long ago. So for him to show the speed here, that's pretty impressive. I was going to say, man, I just lost my train of thought. It's one of those nights.
We went quick for you. That was a quick one. A lot of green. We love it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I had a couple incidents there, but no. The yellow came out for stage. Don't think it came out for the wreck on the backstretch because it never showed up as a wreck on my screen here. But man, I know what I was gonna say. Getting the win here tonight at Darlington must be a big relief for you, because I know how much you love super speedway racing, and we move on to Talladega next week.
Yeah, I hate Talladega and Daytona. I tell myself, I want to have fun here. I want to get up front, and it's just so many people around you all the time. I know you love it. You live for it. I know everyone else does. I'm sure we'll have 15, 18 people showing up next week. But it's just, I like being in control of my own race, and it's very tough at tracks like that. And I look in the mirror too much when I'm getting pushed. You can ask Eddie. He always yells at me, tells me to keep my. I'm not going to tell you what he says to me, but he just tells me to look forward. I'll paraphrase a little bit. But yeah, I'm not good at it. I love pushing people. I hate getting pushed. But we can throw a little caution to the wind and just not left until we see God or the checkers, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, congrats on the win here tonight, Devin. Great run for you. Great race overall. I know it was kind of a small field, but still a lot of good racing out there. Before I let you go, though, anyone? I know you got a bunch of people you want to thank.
Yeah, I want to thank you, Josh, for doing this. Everyone at Intensity, title sponsor, appreciate you guys coming on board. I'm going to thank my girlfriend as well, because Guy always thinks that I forget, even though I don't need the reminder, Guy, if you're watching. So thank you very much. My parents too; they love watching the broadcasts. Morris Customs, always love winning with the Morris Customs colors. So if you need any paint scheme, anything you can think of, Eddie can put it to pen and paper, let's say, and he can get it done for you. So Dev Sports Cards, Level Up Subs, New Craft, Fine Jewelry and Design, everyone that makes this league what it is. We're the schedule's out. We're full bore recruiting starting this week. We're gonna pack these fields up and just try and finish the season strong.
Awesome, man. Well, again, congrats on the win. I believe that's 7 on the season now for you.
It is, yeah. It's gotten lucky in a couple. This was one a Hail Mary pick call, was able to get it done, but just shout out to Sharn again, man. He's class of the field. He kept me on my toes. I am dripping sweat because it's 60 and that's really hot up in New York. So it was a blast. I love races like this, and 5 more laps, we probably weren't going to get that one done. So,
well, again, congrats and good luck tomorrow night, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Good luck tomorrow as well.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
So that was Devin Butchino getting the win here tonight from Darlington Speedway. That's going to do it for us here in the SCSRA Intensity Apparel Truck Series on Intensity Broadcasting. Again, we want to thank everybody for joining us, whether you're watching on Facebook, on YouTube, over on Kick. We do appreciate you tuning in here tonight. If you're watching after the fact, you're not watching this one back live, we do appreciate you tuning in at a later time as well. Any views we do appreciate. So don't forget that like button, follow, and subscribe, and hit that little notification bell so you know anytime we go live here on Intensity Broadcasting. Don't forget to check us out on Sunday. This Sunday we'll have the SimRap Market National Series. They'll be taking on Sonoma Speedway, so that's going to be a great one. And then we'll be right back here next Tuesday for the final race of the round of 12. So join us right back here next week. We appreciate everybody joining us here. And for everybody here from Intensity Broadcasting, I want to thank everybody. And don't forget to check out our great partners down below, the Butt Kicker, Race EPI, Intensity Apparel. As our boy Atlee Atman Weiss would say, over and out.